Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's stupidest podcast. My name is Ben, and with me today, as always, is my co-host David.
What's up, guys?
We're back with another regular episode for you, this time with much more up-to-date stuff.
Finally. You know, it felt so weird putting together a doc, because literally, I haven't had to do it since the last time we recorded before the 3-month hiatus, because I didn't do one for the last episode. And it's
I did
oh my god, I forgot how to do this.
We've actually got some, for it only being, 3 weeks since we recorded, we've actually got some pretty decent stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we did.
I'm excited. And we've got the first 3 episodes of the new Obi-Wan series that dropped, so I'm excited to talk about those too.
Oh,
and then
yes.
We've also got quite a bit of trailers this time. There's one trailer specifically that I've told David that I wanted to watch, and he doesn't know the reason why yet. We'll get to that when we get there, but I'm excited for that too.
He's not spoiled it for me, so I shall learn with you guys what is so special.
Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on with it. First things first, State of Play was 2 days ago. Sony's State of Play, I should say, was 2 days ago as of the time of recording. We're recording January, June 4th.
Woo! Wow. We lost a lot of time.
Hello. So there's good news for PlayStation owners such as myself, and great news for people who don't have the PlayStation yet, who just have a PC, such as people
myself.
like David. The biggest news, I think, which nobody saw coming, is the launch of Spider-Man on PC. And not only Spider-Man, but the spin-off Miles Morales.
Shocking.
That it's also going to launch on PC by the end of this year. Spider-Man Remastered looks like it's coming August 12th, and they've said that Miles Morales will launch on PC by the end of 2022, although they didn't give a concrete date yet. That's exciting. That's very exciting. I've played through all of Spider-Man and a good portion of Miles Morales so far, and I can say it's worth the hype. There's not very many games that you can say live up to the hype that people put on it. This is one of those games that, beautiful. I love it.
Did a good job.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think there's some other games that they announced too, but those are the really big ones. They also talked about PlayStation VR 2. I think they just announced Horizon VR Call of the Mountain. I don't know if it's strictly a VR game. Oh, it is strictly a VR game. But yeah, so it's another Horizon game. I still haven't played any of those yet, but I've heard they're also very good. They announced Street Fighter 6, among a ton of other games that are supposed to come out sometime in the near future. Oh, interesting. PUBG Corporation announced a game, the Callisto Protocol. It's supposed to release December 2nd, 2022 on current and past gen consoles. So, it's supposed to be like a Dead Space-like horror game. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think the biggest news that we're going to take back from this is that Spider-Man is now coming to PC. So, that's exciting. That's what I'm most excited for, because those games they're good. They're really good. So, yeah. Happy news. Good news for once.
For once. Finally. Ugh.
Okay. Let's move on, shall we?
Alrighty. So, in another exciting and good news, somewhat kind of, there's some caveats to this good news, but all in all, it's pretty good news. New York State has passed right to repair bills for electronics. Hallelujah, because good God, this has taken too long, and it needs to be widely adopted and mandated now. This is just stupid. So they have finally passed it. It still requires the governor's signature, but it is expected to be signed no problem. It is requiring digital electronics manufacturers like laptop and smartphone manufacturers to make diagnostic and repair information available to consumers and independent repair shops, which is a freaking win. Because if you don't want to do it yourself, you're going to have somebody else beyond whoever it is you bought your device from, namely Apple.
Yep.
And because that's like the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the U.S. market, because much to my chagrin, they are the dominant platform in the States, especially in the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, whatever, have your cup of tea, drink it too.
Gotta have that stupid blue bubble.
Exactly. But it is finally happening. So, a couple of caveats that I did mention. There's going to be some exceptions. Most notably, medical devices, which I could understand.
Yeah,
there is
fair.
A lot of liability within that. I don't know.
I would feel a lot more comfortable with like an authorized service person from the medical company to come out and say service a medical machine that my grandparents are hooked up to than, take it to some repair shop on the corner and hope that they know what they're doing. Hope that they're looking at the right diagnostic. Hope that they get the right part or whatever to fix the dang thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I can completely understand that caveat. That's fair. I'm good with that.
That, I believe, is a fair caveat.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, home appliances. Maybe along the same lines, less to a degree, but maybe along the same lines.
I think that would have to deal more with like high voltage, because I mean, if you're talking like an oven, maybe a refrigerator to a lesser extent, or like a dryer or a washer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some pretty big voltages that you end up having to deal with, especially like an oven and a dryer. So
oven, a dryer, and HVAC of any kind.
Yeah,
something that is usually tied into 220 volt.
Mm-hmm.
Refrigerators 110. Gas dryers can be dangerous. They're 110, but they can be dangerous. You're playing with another dangerous substance with that, the gas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't want any leaks. And then, I mean, everything else is kind of like, okay, what do they mean by home appliances? So you'd have to like dig into that to see.
Right.
And then the last one, or last two, basically, agricultural and off-road equipment. So, what does that mean? It means John Deere had some lobbyists involved with this, is what that means.
Yep. 100%.
And I think that
I've heard some of the crap that John Deere does to lock down their farm equipment. It's ridiculous. It's almost Tesla level. How bad they lock it down.
And I think that is the dumb one that shouldn't be included at all. Because if anybody knows how to fix a fucking tractor, it's a freaking farmer. Like, these guys are not stupid. They are not Billy Bob Farmer with a straw hat from 200 years ago.
Unless you're talking like a multi-millionaire farmer, which there aren't very many of. You're going to be dealing with somebody who does it for a living, somebody who normally is going to fix their own stuff because, one, they don't want to spend the money on somebody to come out and repair it, and two, they probably already know how to do it anyway because they're doing it all the time, or they did it with their parents or whoever, or their mentor, whoever that may be. So, yeah, that one feels like good old Johnny Deere was involved in that. That's the first thing that I thought of when you said farm equipment. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know who got into that one.
Yep.
That's the one I think is just stupid. They know how to fix their stuff.
I've heard, I mean, we're talking about how smart these farmers are. Cybersecurity might not be their forte, but I've heard some of them getting like hacked Russian firmware to put onto their John Deere so they can just do whatever they want to with it. So that they can at least repair it by themselves.
Well, and I'm sure half of that stuff is just totally unnecessary baloney that John D is just
Oh,
putting
yeah.
on there just because to make it to
It's
where
like
they have to do it.
it's like a printer or like the Keurig coffee machines. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't get that specific brand of ink that HP or whoever wants you to get,
Yep.
you can't use it because it's got a little QR code sticker on it, and if it doesn't read it right, guess what? You just wasted $20 on off-brand ink that technically should work,
Yep.
but it doesn't because it's not HP. Or the stupid the Keurig coffee makers that same thing. If you didn't buy the Keurig brand K cups,
Cups. Yep.
guess what? No coffee for you.
So stupid.
Stupid. So stupid.
But all in all, I think it's a win, with the exception of the caveats. We need this across the
With the
industry.
exception of the farm equipment caveat.
Yes, specifically that one. Medical devices and home appliances. Okay. Home appliances, I don't think consumers should be able to do. At least
Right.
not certain ones, and unless you've got like electrical certifications or something like that. Billy Bob Joe should not be able to stick a fork into something and try to do something he shouldn't be doing.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But I think
No.
third parties should be fine on that one, as long as they're like licensed or certified to do with what they're doing,
Yeah.
to do
Well,
what
see,
they're dealing with.
the
gas or
thing is,
electric.
I don't think these appliance manufacturers are really stringent. I mean,
I don't
people
think they
can
are
correct me
either.
if I'm wrong, but I don't think they're really strict or stringent on their like licensing requirements.
I
So
don't think they are either. So that one kind of confuses me because I've never heard that one being an issue.
right,
And I could just be wrong, but I've never heard of like a major appliance brand being known for like being difficult to have their stuff repaired.
right,
Whereas
yeah,
as soon as you said, like you said, as soon as I said agriculture, you knew exactly who it was because they're known for that. And medical
yep,
devices just kind of makes sense. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
that's life and death.
yeah, literally.
So, I mean, yay. Wonderful.
All right, next one we've got, good old Elon Musk is in the news again.
Uh-oh.
So the first part of this is an interesting story. So earlier this week, or maybe last week or something, Elon Musk ordered the return of all Tesla employees to the office, and he specifically said that you had to spend 40 hours in a home office, which does not include if you're not. It's so you have to spend 40 hours a week in your assigned office, which means if you are somebody who has to travel to, say, a factory or something else, that doesn't count towards your time in the office. Right. Uh huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what does
So
it
if you
count
have
towards?
nothing, it doesn't count towards anything. I mean, you're still going to get paid for it, but unless you meet that 40 hours a week, then
But what
bye
if I'm
bye
at
job,
the
I
factory
guess.
for 4 hours a day? Does
Sucks
that
to
mean I
suck.
had to
Then
do 12-hour days?
you better work another 8 hours in there somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
think not.
So that obviously didn't leave a good taste in everybody's mouths.
It doesn't leave a
But
good taste in my
then,
mouth.
mm-hmm. Then he announced that that Tesla was going on a hiring freeze, and that now they're going to cut 10% of Tesla's jobs. So 10% of the workforce that's in Tesla right now is going to be cut. At least it's planned to be cut. So yeah, all those people that supported Elon Musk, good job. Good job, guys.
Great. Okay, sure. I get that they're battling a good fight. We're tackling something with stride that we've never done before, and that is significant when it comes to our climate, battling greenhouse gases. Why everybody praises this company to the level they do while overlooking all the very bad things that happens is beyond
Mm-hmm.
me. They elevate this man on a pedestal second only to God himself.
For real.
And yet he does crap
He
like
he may
this.
he may as well literally be Jesus to some of these people. Like for real. Elon Musk's word is law almost.
Ugh.
It's so ridiculous.
Okay.
I don't
Alrighty.
get it.
I don't get it either. But
Speaking of Elon Musk,
well, I guess he got more government money coming his way. I think we
could
found
he?
out where he's going to get his Twitter money, if that still happens to go through. NASA said this week that it plans to purchase 5 additional Crew Dragon missions from SpaceX to carry astronauts to the International Space Station. So, I guess Boeing is out, maybe, possibly, not entirely sure. It's kind of all up in the air because while based on the numbers that they have suggested, they want to do 2 missions a year, roughly every 6 months. And they just bought enough through what they already had, plus what they got with Boeing, and now what they finished off with SpaceX. They have enough missions now on the books, or at least we think they do, till 2030, which might be the date that the ISS doesn't work anymore. Not entirely sure. Maybe it'll get extended, maybe it won't. It's very hard to say. But yeah, they got awarded the contract for the rest of them. If it's only until 2030, which is 8 years from now, so a whole lot could change by then.
Yeah. I mean, 8 years is quite a long time. And it's also no time at all.
Very, very much so. So, at first I thought this was a move to decrease any dependence on a certain foreign country that has done certain things that everybody is boycotted at this point. I thought it was a retaliation tactic against them. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I
yeah,
genuinely
that's
don't know. Okay, so Nvidia's not technically back in the news, but there's speculation that despite rumors that they were going to launch their next gen cards, the 40 series, in September, that may not be the case. Um, Again, this is all rumor, so they could be on track for a September launch. They could be on track for a next year launch, 2 years from now launch. It's honestly hard to say, but there have been rumors that say that the first GPU hasn't yet made it out of the engineering and design phase, which means that AIB partners have yet to receive GPUs, not to mention a BIOS or driver. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
this to me, there's 2, maybe 3 possible scenarios going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Scenario number 1, and I think to be the least likely given Nvidia's particularly their behavior. Probably more likely on a it makes sense standpoint, but I don't think it matters if it makes sense to them or not, because if there's a way to print money, they'll do it. And making GPUs is their way to print money. Scenario number 1 that I think, and probably actually not going to be the case. They have found a way to make more money on the current generation than they would have if they had launched this sooner. So they're trying to milk 30 series. For some reason, I doubt that. Because they could easily just take
They've already released
got.
all of their TI cards for this generation, haven't they? They've got the 3080 Ti. They've got the.
They got them all. Finally, it took a long time.
Did they put out a 3060 Ti this time?
I don't know if they did a 3060 Ti or not, to be honest. But I don't think there's any more for this generation.
Maybe they're gearing up to do supers like they did with the 20 series.
It's possible, but I still don't see a way for them to have actually milked more money on the current generation than they would have if they had just moved on to the second one. That would make the most sense, just stay on the current generation because of issues that we had with it the entire time on supply. But I highly doubt they'd make more money from it. So to me, that's not likely given how they want to make money. But it's the most likely scenario on a global scale. If you can't make the current ones and you haven't been able to for a very long time, why would you go and start a whole new process?
Right.
But I don't see it with them, honestly. Scenario number 2, and I highly doubt this is it, but scenario number 2, they found something they didn't like and they had to go back to the drawing board. Some catastrophic flaw, performance sucks, whatever process they're planning to use isn't working the way they thought it would and the way it should be, and it needs to spend a lot more time in the oven. Again, I don't think that's it, because if that was it, this would be, as far as I can tell, the first big, let's call it a misstep from them in a very long time. We have not had this issue with them in years. They've had, 3 or 4 solid generations come out. As far as we can tell, no problem at all. So if there's like an engineering reason for it, that'd be the first time in a while. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying from them, probably not likely. Unless it's a partner thing. Like whoever they're using for the actual process. TSMC or Samsung or whoever they're using. Maybe they're behind and they can't get something working like they're supposed to. Or at least not in major manufacturing batches. Actual production quantities that they need. Third scenario, they found out AMD had something that was going to kick its butt. Or Intel. Because Intel is supposed to be getting their stuff out here soon as well. And now they have to go back to the drawing board, because if they release this in its current state, they're going to get stomped on for an entire generation. I think that actually might be the most likely. Given that there's 2 possible companies that could do this to them.
Yeah, it could be.
And given what not NVIDIA, but what AMD has been pulling out of its cards lately. Because they've been doing really good. If they had decent encoders for like production quality stuff, I would almost guarantee they'd be running away with a lot more market share than what they are now. NVIDIA's encoder is superior for now.
Oh, yeah, 1,000,000%.
So, I have a feeling they've got some stiff competition and they're trying to hold back. Or they don't want to reveal the cards too soon. Because they might not like what's in their hand. That's my personal take on it.
We'll just have to see when everything comes up. Intel's got their stuff coming up pretty soon. AMD probably isn't going to release RDNA 3 anytime soon because they just did a 6000 series refresh. So we'll have to see about that. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what comes out of everything, especially Intel, because their stuff is. Their integrated graphics have been going up here pretty decently. So I'm interested to see what they can pull out of their butt for a dedicated graphics card.
I don't know. It's been a long time coming now. Eventually we'll get it.
All right, last story.
So I think we've actually talked about this one before. I'm not entirely sure. It's been so long. If we have, it's worth mentioning again. So the U.S. is number 1 again in as far as the world's supercomputing is going. So they've got the fastest supercomputer in the world again with its exascale frontier system at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory here in Tennessee. I'm sure that place is sucking down a lot of power. Listen to how many cores it has been. How many cores do you think this thing has?
500,000.
No, not even close.
What?
Not even close.
No.
Not even close, my friend. It's running EPYC 64-core CPUs.
Uh-huh.
How many do you think? You're not even close. You're orders of magnitudes off.
Seriously?
Uh-huh. Even if you doubled it, you're still orders of magnitudes off.
8? Almost 9 million cores?
9 million cores, Ben!
Oh my god. But can it run Crysis, though?
Probably not, actually. You need 10 million cores for that. 8.7 million cores with an efficiency rating of 52 gigaflops per watt.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. It's beyond imagination. I saw that number, it's like, holy cow, you've got to be kidding me.
Let's see, I have that's a lot of zeros. Okay. 0.00004%
Oh god.
of the cores that they do.
5 zeros, huh?
Yeah.
Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, a hundredth, a hundredth thousand.
Mm-hmm.
Good God.
It's,
Whoops.
yeah.
Whoops. I want
Wow.
that computer. Let me plug into it and do some renders. It won't take, but like 2 seconds. You can spare 2 seconds, right?
Literally. If they're not lending out computer power, I don't know what in the world they're doing with that machine. Like, for real.
I don't know what they're doing with that machine. That's the scary part. Like, what are you actually doing with it?
Skynet. So what else could it be? It's got to be Skynet, right? Right?
I have no idea. Frontier users will model the entire lifespan of a nuclear reactor, uncover disease genetics, and build on recent developments in science and technology to further integrate artificial intelligence. There's your Skynet, Ben. With data analytics and modeling and simulation.
See, I knew it.
It's Skynet.
100% liquid cooled using warm water, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Really? That's interesting. Alrighty then.
I don't know if I'd call that liquid cooling, but sure.
I mean, it's 85 degrees Fahrenheit, not 85 degrees Celsius, remember.
Oh, yes. That never mind. Thank you. That is a very important clarification.
Fahrenheit to Celsius. That's it's 30 degrees Celsius, roughly.
That's actually probably not a bad thing, though, because if you did it any colder, I'm assuming this place is running massive air conditioning systems.
Has to be.
You probably wouldn't ever get much colder than that without having condensation problems.
Yeah.
So, at some point, I guess theoretically the room would never get hotter than 85 degrees and it would never condensate if it never got... I mean, it's hard to say. That's so weird.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to our discussion topic, which is Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first 3 episodes. All right. So, first one. These don't have very creative names, so you'll have to, sorry about that. I can't do anything about what they name these.
What did they name them? Wasn't it just
Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3?
That's what I thought. I thought I saw on Disney Plus. I wasn't sure if I was just out of it or something, or if they...
Nope.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Part 1. 10 years after Order 66, when most of the Jedi Order were killed, the Grand Inquisitor, 5th brother, and 3rd sister, Reva Sevender, find a surviving Jedi, Nari, on Tatooine. Reva grows impatient and attempts to kill him, forcing the Grand Inquisitor to stop her and allowing Nari to escape. The Grand Inquisitor expresses his disapproval for Reva's recklessness and obsession with finding another surviving Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who, unbeknownst to them, is also on Tatooine. Under the alias Ben, Kenobi works at a meat factory and watches over a young Luke Skywalker, the son of his former apprentice turned enemy Anakin Skywalker. He is haunted by memories of his past and is unable to communicate with his former master Qui-Gon Jinn through the Force. Kenobi refuses to help Nari and later sees his corpse hanging in town. On Alderaan, Anakin's daughter Leia, who was adopted by Kenobi's acquaintance Senator Bail Organa, is kidnapped by Vect Nakru's gang, a group of bounty hunters hired by Reva to lure Kenobi. Organa contacts Kenobi and pleads with him to rescue Leia. Kenobi refuses at first, but relents after Organa personally meets him. So, my opinion on this episode, and even on the next one, kind of a slow burn, honestly. There is not really a whole lot going on other than the Inquisitors going around and trying to find Jedi. The most action that we get is like right at the end when Leia is kidnapped. So it's a decent start to the series. Not exactly what I was expecting necessarily, but going off of what we learn as kind of Obi-Wan's mindset as the series goes on, it kind of makes sense because he doesn't really want to do anything except exist at this point. He wants to stay where he's at and he wants to watch over Luke like he promised Qui-Gon or that he promised Padme that he would do, or Yoda or whoever. I don't know who he promised, but either way, he made a promise and he's gonna try and stick to it. So I can kind of see the tone that they were trying to go for with this, but I don't know if it entirely worked with me. I don't know. It was an okay beginning episode for me.
Yeah. One of the main issues that I took with this episode and the next episode and somewhat of the third episode too, we have a very serious disconnect from where we've last seen Obi-Wan to where we see him next in being A New Hope. He's very lost. There's things that he very easily could have done. The Jedi mind trick thing. How many times would that have proven useful so far in this, even in the first episode, really? And in the entire series as a whole right now, that we've not seen. And I don't know if it's something that's going to get resolved or if it's... I'm not sure what's going on. But he's not the Obi-Wan that we remember at all. From episode 3 to episode 4, I don't know what happened. Obviously, this series is exploring some of it, but...
Right.
I don't know, Ben. I really don't know. I'm confused right now.
Anyway, so the first episode, what would you give it out of 5? Like, I don't know.
Inquisitors.
I mean, there is 5 Inquisitors. Yeah, sure. Why not?
See, there you go. A 3.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. By the way, I don't know if you noticed the 2 like big celebrity cameos that we have in this series. So one, the bounty hunter guy, the leader of the gang, he's the basis for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Flea. And then the who is it? Fifth brother, the white skinned Inquisitor, is Sung Kang, aka what's his name from Fast and Furious, the Asian guy that died. Han, yep.
Gotcha. No, I didn't notice that.
Anyway, part 2. After tracking the kidnappers to the planet Daiyu, Kenobi encounters con man Haja Estri, who pretends to be a Jedi. Excuse me. Haja directs Kenobi to Leia's location, where he defeats the kidnappers and rescues her. The Grand Inquisitor learns of their presence and locks the city down. Reva disobeys orders to stand down and places a new bounty on Kenobi, causing mercenaries around the city to target him and Leia. When Leia realizes they are after Kenobi, she loses trust in him and runs away. Escaping to a roof with mercenaries attempting to kill them, Leia jumps off and Kenobi saves her using the Force, gaining her trust. Haja finds them and directs them to an unguarded cargo port from which they can escape, but cannot stop Reva from following them. Reva reveals to Kenobi that Anakin, who Kenobi believed to be dead, is still alive under the name Darth Vader. The Grand Inquisitor arrives to arrest Kenobi himself, but Reva stabs him with her lightsaber, inadvertently allowing Kenobi and Leia to escape. On Mustafar, Vader awakens in a Bacta tank. So, this is where the show kind of starts to pick up steam. I'd still say it's not as action heavy as even the next one is.
Mm-hmm.
But it at least moves the plot forward in a much faster manner than the last episode did. I like the con man Jedi guy. Those were great scenes. I love that. And then I like the betrayal between Reva and the Grand Inquisitor. That kind of informs her character in a way that we didn't really get before. So
Yep.
I think this episode was a lot better than the first one. What about you?
This is a very good example of why they needed to put these two together like they did. They released them at the same time. Had I had to wait between 1 and 2, I would have had a lot more time to be like, oh, this is not interesting me like it should be. Because 1 did, until the very end anyways, when she got kidnapped, 1 was like, what is this?
Yeah, it was hard to sit through.
Having put both of them put together like that and being able to binge both of them back to back, seeing the continuity tied together, a resolution is now in place. Yes, it made it much better as far as both being together. I strongly think that this episode is superior in every way to the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Much needed context. Definitely much more engaging content. Fight scenes. Character development. Plot movement. Everything. It just, it moved. It did something. So, this one's like a 4 for me. Easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Went
I have
up
to agree with that.
a whole star category in 1 episode.
And did you notice they got Tamura Morrison back to play that Clone Wars veteran in this episode, part 2?
I don't know anything about Clone Wars. Why are you asking me this?
Not the Clone Wars. Yeah, the Clone Wars veteran, the like clone guy, the beggar that was on the side of the street that was asking for coins. He was an ex-clone trooper.
Oh yes, okay.
Uh-huh.
What
yeah,
about
they hired the guy, the Clone Wars guy, or the guy that plays Boba Fett, that guy.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
Mm-hmm.
That was him.
Yep.
Oh God, yeah.
Tamura Morrison.
I guess I did notice that.
And then I think they talked, or they did it in this episode. James Earl Jones.
Nope.
Is back.
Not in
it
this
wasn't.
One.
It
Nope.
was the next one.
It
Either
was the
way,
next one.
James Earl Jones is back as Darth Vader, and that's
you have no idea how happy I was to hear his voice.
Oh, yes.
At first, I thought it was replayed audio from one of the movies because it sounded like it could be.
So,
and then it very quickly turned to relevant to this story. I was like, oh, yep, it's for this.
I actually have a good reason for why you might think that.
Okay, what is it?
So, obviously they use James Earl Jones as the voice, but they used this technology during The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett for when Luke was talking. Uh-huh. You know how Mark Hamill sounds now.
Yeah.
He sounds much different than he did back then.
Very
They
different.
used him They used Mark Hamill as the voice, but they use this it's called Respeecher. It's like an AI voice modulation technology or something. So
Uh-huh.
it uses their voice, but they're also using like samples from the older movies.
Yep.
So it's the person talking, so they're getting the same tone of their voice and everything.
Yep.
They're just using this technology to make it sound younger, how it would have. Like, so they would have had to use that for James Earl Jones and for Mark Hamill, because
Gotcha.
the last time that James Earl Jones voiced Darth Vader was in like 2005, and that was for like 2 lines in the Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, it's a big deal. But I was very excited that they used him for that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Made a
part
lot of
3.
sense.
Vader instructs Reva to find Kenobi, promising to promote her to Grand Inquisitor if she succeeds. Kenobi and Leia's transport lands on the mining planet Mapuzo, whatever, and they proceed to the rendezvous provided by Haja. Finding no one there, they take a ride on an Imperial transport. They are discovered, and Imperial troops are sent to capture them, but they receive help from a female Imperial officer, Tala, who is a member of an underground network that hides dissidents and outlaws hired by the Empire. She escorts them to a secret subterranean passageway, but before they can leave, Vader and the Inquisitors arrive and begin to harm innocent bystanders to lure Kenobi. Kenobi sends Leia and Tala ahead while he provides a distraction. He is eventually confronted by Vader, who overpowers Kenobi with his force choke and burns him. Tala provides a distraction to save Kenobi, but Leia is intercepted by Reva. So this, I would say, is by far the best episode out of the series so far. All of the stuff with Darth Vader, especially when he shows up on the planet and starts just menacingly walking down the street. Oh man, that is everything that everybody's wanted Darth Vader to be up until that point. The
Yep.
only time we've really ever gotten him to do anything like that is at the beginning of A New Hope. And even then, it wasn't really like to the same level of this, because he's just casually walking down the street, taking people out of houses, force choking them. He snapped the neck of this dude's
Yep.
son on the
Mm-hmm.
side of the house. He
Mm-hmm.
drags another person down the street while force choking them at the same time. He is ruthless,
Yep.
ruthless in his pursuit of Obi-Wan Kenobi in
Yep.
this series. And the battle with him and Kenobi at the end, where Vader just holds him down in the fire, that was something else, dude. I
Mm.
felt something there. I was like, oh my
Mm.
gosh.
They are continuing what was very much created at the end of episode 3, where we see Anakin literally burned on the volcanic planet that I don't know the name of, don't care.
Mustafar.
And yeah, Mustafar, thank you. And his last words being, "I hate you," and it was pure hatred that he felt towards Kenobi. That was
as much-
unravaged here
As
very
much,
clearly.
as much crap as people gave Hayden Christensen I don't think they give him as much crap now, because they realize it was less Hayden Christensen and more George Lucas's not that great writing. But the battle between Anakin and Kenobi at the end of Revenge of the Sith, that whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
beautifully acted. Hayden Christensen is Darth Vader in that moment. Even without the suit and everything,
Yep.
he is pure rage
Yes.
and hatred.
Yes.
And you can see it in every movement in that
Yep.
performance.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the just vitriol that he spits out with his last words with Kenobi. I hate you. There is it makes you feel like there's nothing truer that he's ever said in his life.
Yep.
It is it's so good. And the fact
It's
that
pure.
he's not even talking here, but his actions, you know that he has nothing but hate in his heart for
Yep.
that man.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Nothing. It's pure. It's simple. And God, is it ruthless?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would have
How?
been traumatized had that been the first interaction that I'd seen between these two, had I
Oh.
not seen what had already happened to Anakin. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's reason for why this is happening.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense. And I appreciate that. This is clearly where this was going to go if he ever caught up with them. Now, why he didn't just force choke him to begin with? Again, continuity issues. Obi-Wan seems lost and out of touch.
Definitely.
Vader surely isn't, because we've already seen him drag innocent people out of their homes and snap a boy's neck. But yet he's purely content with just dueling with lightsabers at the end? Like, if he wanted him gone, he easily could have done it.
Okay, I agree with you, but there also has to be some leeway for us to end up at the point where Obi-Wan is still alive to be in episode 4. So maybe it could be argued that he wanted to take it slow so that it wasn't just over.
Make him suffer.
I mean, this is somebody who he has hated for. How long has it been since episode 3 of this series? It's like a decade, right?
It's like a decade. Something like that.
So 10 years. 10 years he's been wanting this one person dead. Mm-hmm. And he finally has his chance.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can't say that I would disagree, that I wouldn't want to just end it. You know?
But I feel like they could have done a better way to end it at the... Like... Okay, never mind. They did. I was going to say, there needs to be a way for Obi-Wan to best him somehow or some way. But it wasn't Obi-Wan that did it. It was somebody else. I forgot about the sniper shot.
Right, yep.
That then kind of distracted Vader. So my grievance is a little bit... I mean, he easily could have force-choked him still. He didn't have to kill him. But he easily could have done it.
Definitely.
He's been doing it the whole entire time, and he doesn't... It's like a cat and mouse game.
Right.
But it wasn't quite enough viciousness in cat.
This isn't going to be their only... I mean, obviously, in canon, Darth Vader can't, tell the future or anything like that, but this isn't going to be their only confrontation throughout the series. And
Probably not.
I think Vader probably knows that. I mean, he's right there. Sure, could he have force-choked him and just gotten it over with? Absolutely, but I think it comes down to, again, he doesn't want it to be over with right away. He wants this to be something that goes for at least a little bit. So even if he has to catch back up to him to do that... Sure. I mean, clearly, once Obi-Wan is out of hiding, it's not really all that hard to find him.
Yeah. Well, and if you see, if Vader can... And he kind of does. He claims he's weak. You've grown weak in your old age, or something along that line. If he sees the same thing that we're seeing with Obi-Wan, well, what I'm saying with him being lost or disconnected or purely out of touch in a way that he's not in episode 4, so something's got to change. You see my continuity issue here.
Yeah.
Something's up. But
we still have 3 episodes before the series is over. So I'm assuming something is going to happen between then and now, or now and then.
I can't wait. I was very hyped for this series when we got the trailers. It's been something that has been murmured since the launch of Disney Plus.
Basically, yep.
It took a long time before we got it.
I'm just glad that they were able to get Hayden Christensen back as Darth Vader.
So is he behind? He's behind the suit, right?
Yeah, he's in the suit.
Okay. Well, because somebody else was in the suit. Is there a reason for that? Why somebody else is behind the suit in the original trilogy, but yet we have James Earl's voice? Why not have James behind the suit? He's a big, menacing person.
I don't think he was quite the physicality that he wanted
Not
to
quite.
go for.
I mean, he's shorter,
Let's see. So, James Earl Jones, 6'2". David Prowse, 6'6".
Okay. I get. Is that the reason though? Like, was it just physicality?
It was the physicality, yeah.
Okay.
But James Earl Jones is the voice. He's the voice.
And I wouldn't have it any other way.
And he wasn't even originally credited as the voice either, unfortunately, due to the nature of the times. But
that's so stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
I don't think the thing is though, I don't think that was George Lucas. I think it was actually James Earl Jones who opted to not be credited, at least not right away. Because he wanted people to see the movie. I could be wrong. I'm basing this purely off of what I remember reading, but anyway, yeah. So I'm glad that Hayden Christensen is in the suit. I'm glad that he's the actor. I'm glad that James Earl Jones is back as the voice, because I wouldn't have it any other way.
It did my heart good. I have to admit. I don't know why. Even though I wasn't that big into Star Wars in the beginning, anyways. It took me a while before I was into it. Took you before I was into it. I have always liked Darth Vader. And I'm sure some of it's got to do with James's voice. Because I love him and everything else that he voices as well. But you have no idea how good my heart felt when I heard that. I was like, yes!
Mm-hmm.
This is how it should be. It's going to be a sad day when that man dies.
He's still here somehow.
Thank God for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what would you give this out of 5? I don't know, what out of 5 lightsaber duels? I don't know.
4.5.
Yeah, that's about where I was gonna be. I'd say that.
Good
this is definitely the best episode of the 3 so far. I really hope they keep this momentum up.
I don't know if it's just the fact that Vader finally showed up and we got some kick-assery going on, or if the plot was moving good even without him too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. That's probably a big part of it, though.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's the discussion portion. All we've got left is the trailers now. We've got quite a few of those. So yeah, we're going to watch them. First things first. Before we get into that, let me explain how we do our trailer section for those of you who haven't listened to us before. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to watch the trailer, and then we're going to let you know whether we would see it in the theaters, whether we would wait for a rental, wait for a review, or whether we would not see it at all. I say this every time I do this explanation, but there's a good reason for it. We have said that we wouldn't see maybe 10 films in total out of the probably literal hundreds of trailers that we've watched on this show at this point.
Probably.
So, if we say that we're not going to see it, either it just doesn't flat out interest us at all, or the trailer is just god awful, which one of these tonight I know is going to be the case. So we've got a few trailers, so let's go ahead and get into it. First one we've got is the first official trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane?
Yes, that's too good. That's too good. Oh man. I remember we had pretty mixed feelings when the teaser trailer came out, yeah?
Yeah, I was like
there wasn't really a whole lot there, but this is good. I'm good with this. I'd see this in the theaters 100%.
Oh, 100%. Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just I'm
I'm
glad to see something finally maybe possibly work out. Like this man's been through a lot. He's lost it
mhm.
all, literally. And then there's a tiny glimmer of hope.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm glad that they kept the tone
Ragnarok.
of Ragnarok, yeah, instead of moving a little bit backwards into the original Thor and the Dark World, because Thor Ragnarok was a great movie.
Hmm.
It was kind of a turning point within the MCU because they didn't focus so much on being like super serious. They let a little loose, you know?
Yeah.
They let it get a little silly at points,
Well, it was all
which
doom and gloom and
mhm.
everything, and it's like there's only so much of that you can take
Right, yeah. Mhm.
before it gets old and stale, and they have to be very careful about that because we're
Right,
moving
yeah.
into phase 4 now, and
I
what 25 something movies now. Like you
something like
cannot
that,
get
yeah.
stale, otherwise it's going to fall and fall hard.
They're gonna have to change up the formula again at some point, but I
Mm-hmm.
think the way that they're playing it now, how they're kind of playing into I'll put it this way, maybe playing into the cheese a little bit, because I mean it's superhero movies, you know. It doesn't have to be 100% serious all the time. There's a time and a place, like the Batman. That was a great serious superhero movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think this could have been played any other way.
I don't think so either. I think we've seen that they've tried and it
Right.
hasn't worked.
I think it works in Marvel's favor that they're keeping it the way that they're keeping it right now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
So yeah, I'd see this in the theaters. Definitely. I'm excited. Um next one we've got is for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Your days of fighting for the so-called greater good are over. This is our chance to control the truth, the concepts of right and wrong for everyone for centuries to come. You're fighting to save an ideal that doesn't exist. Never did. You need to pick a side.
I don't know about you, but I mean okay, so I get that it was a remix of the Mission Impossible theme, but did the music seem a little bit like out of place for you, or is that just me?
No, I totally agree. I for two reasons. Felt more like a teaser trailer than a trailer because beyond the little epilogue that we got at the beginning, there wasn't a lot of context for what's going
Right.
on
There was like
besides
there was like
action
almost
scenes.
no dialogue during that entire
Exactly.
trailer. It was just music and a bunch of scenes for like a minute and a half almost.
Uh-huh. And so it felt out of place for two reasons to me. One, lack of context. Two, I don't know if it set a very different tone to me than what should have been set for what is supposed to be an action film.
Right, yeah.
Like it didn't
It
feel like action Tony type music to me at
it
all.
it felt very muted as
Mm-hmm.
far as like the tone that it was going for. It felt maybe more like a I mean, I get that they're supposed to be spies or whatever, but it felt more like a spy thriller to me and not an all out action movie, which is what Mission Impossible is at this point. Yes, there's spies and espionage and whatnot, but it's not a low key spy movie. Not at all. Not at this point.
Unless they're trying to maybe go back to roots. Maybe? I don't know.
Nothing in that trailer showed back to roots for me. It was all escalation.
It was. So it just it felt just disconjointed to me. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like it belonged. I don't know.
This just based on this trailer, this would have to be a wait for review for me.
Yeah, and I don't, it's very much in stark contrast to how I felt with the Top Gun Maverick
Mm-hmm.
trailer, where it's like, okay, that got me pumped up and excited.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I am not pumped up or excited at all for this. Not in the least. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, so our next trailer is for Miss Marvel, a new Disney Plus series.
Maybe they're right. I spend too much time in Fantasyland.
That is not you.
It's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who save the world. That's a fantasy too.
What does it feel like?
Cosmic. I always thought I wanted this kind of life, but I never imagined any of this.
Do you know what you are?
I'm a superhero.
Oh wow, this starts streaming in 4 days.
I know, like
I guess we're not reviewing that. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on it once everything drops or something. No way we're gonna be able to fit it in with Obi-Wan.
no, not happening. Sorry, guys.
But it does look good. I'm interested. I'm interested to see where it goes. What about you?
I'm really glad to see some different representation going on. Finally, something different besides white girl versus white guy versus this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
We finally get some representation. We finally get some ethnicity thrown in, or at least different ethnicities
It's only
thrown
like
into it.
the third or fourth superhero of color that we've gotten in the MCU so far. Black Panther, Falcon, Shang-Chi, and now Miss Marvel.
Yes.
Maybe there's more that I'm forgetting. Those are the ones that I remember.
I forget his name. War Machine? Don Cheadle?
Yes.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
How important he is up for discussion.
Negligible. Yeah.
At least it's... But you're right. It's predominantly not people of color. So it's good to see some representation. I'm confused. What is she supposed to be?
This is one superhero that I do not have a lot of experience with, so I couldn't tell you for sure. Obviously, she's basing her look on Captain Marvel, but other than that, I don't think that there's any relation.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's what I was getting at. I'm like, okay, is this something? Before I saw anything, I saw the title, and I'm like, okay, this has got to be something related to Captain Marvel, right? But why would they call it Miss Marvel? And then we got this whole different storyline. It's like, okay, yeah, I like it, but I'm confused about the character.
Yeah.
But I guess you are too, so it doesn't matter.
We'll have to see how we feel after we watch it. All right, so next trailer we've got is it's another Disney Plus series. Hopefully not coming up so soon. Andor.
Soon enough, these days will end. There will be no rules going forward.
People are standing up. That's what a reckoning sounds like.
Interesting. I think this is the first Is this the first Disney Plus Star Wars series that we've gotten without some sort of pre-existing character in it?
It feels like it. What I'm wanting to know, and I'm trying to look it up.
Even Mandalorian had those other the other Mandalorians that were in the Clone Wars and Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Okay, good. So that explains it. So what's on Wikipedia right now anyway says Andor is an upcoming American television series created by Tony Gilroy for the streaming service Disney Plus. It is a prequel to the Star Wars film Rogue One, following a character, Cassian Andor, during the 5 years before the events of the film. So based off that, I would say this probably
He's already okay. Oh yes, okay, yeah. He was in Rogue One. Okay.
Diego Luna, executive produces and reprises his Rogue One role as Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor.
Cassian. We need to watch Rogue One again.
We do, yeah.
Because we
literally only watched it that one time in theaters, right?
We did. And out of all of the until we got to Disney Plus, we were pretty well. I mean, it took some time to simmer, but we kind of got into an agreement, and it seems like between us and the bigger Star Wars community, that the sequel trilogy movies wasn't the best.
No.
And up until Disney Plus, post-Disney acquisition of Star Wars wasn't turning out great. And Rogue One was the exception to all of those films, including Solo, which didn't necessarily turn the community on in the way that it probably should have.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One being the one standout. And to me, it is actually, based on my recollection, my favorite out of all those movies. Between Solo and Rogue One, it was definitely the best non-trilogy sequel out of all those films that came out. Until we got to Disney Plus, it was the best thing Star Wars was post-Disney acquisition. So I'm really excited to see this now that I'm realizing because I saw the suits. I'm like, okay, where are we in the timeline? Are we just before A New Hope? Are we talking original Galactic Empire? Are we looking at First Order crap? And it was really hard to tell there for a minute. What are we battling here? And now it makes a lot of sense.
It looks like it should be pretty interesting. The only gripe that I have is that it really didn't give us a whole lot to go on, but that might serve the series as a whole well, because I mean, besides the one movie, we don't really know a whole lot about this character, so maybe they're keeping their cards close to their chest so they can let it all loose once the series comes out,
which is fine. I'm okay with that. I like the idea that maybe it's not a new character because we have technically seen it before, but as far as Rogue One was concerned, it was definitely definitely new.
Mm-hmm.
May have been in Rogue One, but it's definitely new material. And if it's predating Rogue One, then this should be good. Hopefully, this is good character development in a positive way.
Yeah,
about somebody that we're not attached to.
We'll have to make sure that we watch Rogue One again before this drops. Like right before it drops, just so we've got the context.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So next trailer we've got is David's pick for the night. The Man from Toronto.
Who is that?
This is the Man from Toronto.
Wait, what? I'm the Man from Toronto.
And he's here to torture you.
Why in God's name were you in that cabin?
They wanted me to be the guy that you guys are looking for, but I'm not that guy, but I had to act like I was.
Oh, you want this? No.
They wanted me to torture the guy.
I'll dig these goddamn thumbs in your eyes and I will love it! What's that?
What'd I do?
Our only way to find the man from Toronto is if you continue to be the man from Toronto.
Hey, yo, what's my name? The man that you're talking about is a real crazy person. One more time. Kills people, chops them up. Come on.
Hola. I am the man from Toronto.
Objection. No, I'm the man from Toronto. Oh,
This is on you.
Hey, yo, what's my name?
Okay. Yeah. This looks interesting. I like that a lot, actually. We'll have to see if we can review that.
Both of them, actually, Kevin and Woody, continue to amaze me. I love it. It's so funny looking, too.
I have loved Woody Harrelson for a long time as an actor. Ever since I saw him in No Country for Old Men. Great movie if you haven't seen it. But everything else that he's been in. Mwah. So yeah, needless to say, I would go see this in the theaters even though it's a Netflix exclusive. And we are, whether or not we review it, I'm definitely going to watch it.
I don't see why not. We could do it.
I think so. We'll fit it in somewhere. Okay, so the final trailer of the night. The reason you've all been waiting for this final moment. So, it's been a long time since we've talked about this particular person, David. A long time since either of us has thought about him.
Okay.
Do you remember a little actor by the name of Kevin Spacey?
No.
That's right, David.
Oh,
He's
no.
coming back. He's coming back
He's
in
got
B
something
movies.
to come back to?
Huh?
He's got something to come back to?
Apparently so. That's what this Peter 5'8" thing is. I've seen part of this trailer, David. I don't want to give you any expectations, but let's watch it. Peter 5'8", everybody.
Once I chose what I wanted to do in life, I was going to be the very best in the world at it. And that's how I took on rectifying a life that had gone to the dogs.
I found her. She's here. I'm actually in the market for a house of my own in the region. What can you tell me about Sam, lives over there?
Every agent in this office knows that we'd be lost without you.
Oh, stop it.
I have a lead. Her friend, local woman named Brenda.
I await your next dispatch.
You and I have a couple of drinks.
My girlfriend Sam lives right across the street.
Oh, does she? My new neighbor. I want to know about your friendships. Sam is just a name you made up. Back then, you were called something else. It's all coming back, isn't it?
The past won't let me go. All those evil things haunt me.
This is your last chance. I'm not here to kill you. If I was, you'd be dead already.
Where's this fucking guy? I can't shake him.
Now, what is this really all about?
She will experience loss. Make it messy, Peter.
Walk away from here before it's too fucking late.
Turn that fucking town
upside down.
So, what you think?
Okay. Don't know if this is because of the movie or because of the source that ended up getting it onto YouTube. What the hell was this shot with, first of all? Because my piss poor Android from 5 years ago could do better than this.
It has to be a re-upload. This is like the only copy of this trailer that I could find. despite finding a perfectly clear copy when I first saw it on Reddit. I couldn't tell you where a better copy is, but it's because of whoever uploaded this.
Okay.
240p or whatever this is.
Well, I mean, it looked like hot garbage from the 80s and the 90s. It looked like it was shot straight to video cassette. It looked awful. So I was like, oh God, this is terrible looking. Beyond that, this is a hot fucking train wreck. That's the only way I can describe it.
Mm-hmm.
The acting looks terrible. The plot looks terrible. Sounds terrible.
The thing is, right? Kevin Spacey is what? He's at least Oscar nominated, right? Hold on. I gotta look. Either way, the acting looks awful, even on his part. And he's supposedly a pretty decent actor.
I've seen much better, that's for sure. The first couple of seasons of House of Cards was much better than this. I know he can act.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him do it. I don't know. I truly don't. This reminds me a little bit, because I've seen kind of this quality of acting from him before as well. So I don't know if it's misguided direction or poor decision making. It reminds me a little bit of his acting. I don't know if you've seen this movie Outbreak. It's got him in it and Dustin Hoffman.
I don't think I've seen it. He's got
Morgan Freeman.
He's got 2 Oscars actually.
Okay.
An Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor and an Academy Award for Best Actor. Granted, those were more than 20 years ago at this point, but
we know he can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This just, ugh. This is
he's just taking whatever work he can now.
I mean, certain choices in life will do that. If you choose to act in malicious ways and then try to create false pretense and excuses for said things, I mean, blacklisted for a reason. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to support him or have him on set. I mean, if you're a terrible person, I don't care how good you act. I don't care if I like some of your stuff. If you've done some less than savory things in your life, but you've cleaned up, okay. But what he did is not less than savory. That's just like...
Right.
Scum of the earth.
There's something to say about appreciating something that somebody does, that somebody put out into the world, without appreciating the person themselves.
Yep.
Because he is a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
He has been a great actor in great movies.
Yep.
Like, Baby Driver is probably one of my favorite movies. He's great in that movie.
Yep.
He's just a terrible human being.
So I
wish him no more work for the rest of his life.
Exactly. And this stuff's already out, and there's no reason to not enjoy it. Because whether or not he did whatever he did or not, and he's a bad person or whatever, watching it now doesn't have a benefit to him anyways. So it's like, well,
especially
there's a clear-cut moral issue that doesn't exist.
Especially if you get it from certain places.
Yeah. So but this just I wouldn't watch it. I don't care what he's done. I don't care if he's got a stellar reputation. This just looks terrible.
It looks awful. It's bad.
I knew it was going to be a problem when I saw this opening introduction, this movies universe. What the fuck is this? I've never heard of this. You said this was B film? Are you sure this isn't lower than that?
I mean, that's listen. That's what I'm assuming it is. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay. I don't know anymore. I'm done.
Oh boy.
Gotta
love it.
with that.
Got to love it.
Jeez.
All right. That's it. That's the end. That's the end of this episode. Oh, in case you were wondering, we're not going to see this movie, and we never will, because it's a hot piece of garbage.
I don't need to wait for a
along with Kevin
review
Spacey
to know that this is just no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thumbs down. 2 thumbs down.
That's right. 2 thumbs down, 2 middle fingers up. That's how we do it.
You're amazing, and I love you.
Okay, that is the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening, depending on where you're consuming us at, whatever. Please be sure to leave a rating on whatever podcasting platform you happen to be listening on. If you're watching us on YouTube, leave us a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And yeah, we will see you guys for our next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's Ben Plays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6by16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit the show up at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. We'll see you next time.